Hello, this is Gray Knits, and I'm Gray, and this is my knitting podcast where I talk about my current projects, my finished projects, and my future upcoming projects. Um, I actually have done one episode of this in the past. It was from 2022, it's 2 years ago. I don't know actually if I will keep it up there or I'll take it off, so this can be the first episode again. But basically, I have gone back to knitting quite a bit, and so I decided that I should start one of these again, and hopefully I can continue it because I actually really love talking about my knitting, and I don't really get to do it much in my life because people dig off. Okay, so first and foremost, I think people start with what they're wearing. So this is, I don't know, it's a regular schmegular, knitted vest that I made, I think, 2 years ago or a year ago or something. It's made from hand-dyed yarn. The yarn is from Cinder Yarns Co. It's an Indonesian brand. It's cotton, and actually I didn't quite like it or making with it because the yarn is a bit rough. I'm used to fine cotton or soft cotton here in the Philippines. So this was a little bit tough, but I like the color. Actually, nowadays it has faded a little bit, and I think the camera doesn't really catch it that much. But it's still there. It's purple and green when you look too close, and it looks gray from afar, which is very fun. And I ran out of yarn for the ribbing on the sleeves. That's why it looks like that. But yeah, I really love this project, and I still wear it a lot to this day. I think it looks very fun, and yeah, this is a project from a year ago. And now I will show you my current finished projects. So, my first one is actually, sorry, they're on the floor, is actually socks. So, I'm from the Philippines. I don't really have access to wool yarn. And it has been a great misery in my life because I have always wanted to knit socks. I just never got around to them. This is yarn that I bought from Shopee, which is I don't know. It's a place where you buy things on the internet, and it's 75% merino wool and 25% nylon. It's in the color gray. It's lace weight, and so I had to double ply it. Yeah, I loved making these. I love making socks, and I just think the construction is interesting, the process is interesting. This is the pattern that I used is the video of Crazy Sock Lady for her vanilla socks with DPNs. I enjoyed it greatly. I made it a shorter cuff just because I don't really like long socks, and I think it's a really fun project. These are my first pair of socks. And I think recently my approach to knitting has been more on the side of I want to learn garment construction, and I want to learn new things, new techniques, new methods of making stuff. I find that, the type of interest that I have for knitting comes and goes. Sometimes it's more of a I just want something to do, and sometimes it's no, I want to learn. So I think knitting socks is a good learning thing, just because you can choose a toe up sock or a cuff down sock, but once you know how to make a basic sock, you know how to make a sock. You know how to make it, and it in comparison to say there are other ways to make socks. This is a heel turn and gusset. And I am interested in other ones, like the German shorter one and the Kiss Fish, whatever, the Fish Kiss heel. Amazing name, by the way. But I just mean that now I know how to make a sock, and I can make it, and I am actually about to make another one. I'll talk about that in my future project list. But yeah, I enjoyed this greatly. One of the socks is bigger than the other. I think you can actually see it. Like, this sock is bigger than this sock. And the reason why is because, well, I have two hands and I knit both style. Like, I knit both continental and English style. And this one, I knitted English style. And then when it came out, I realized that one of my foot is bigger than the other. And so it doesn't really fit, like, one of my foot. It only fits the smaller one. So it's like, okay, so for the next sock, I'm going to make it slightly bigger by making it like continental style knit, because my continental style is much looser. And so it worked. Like, this is a looser sock and it fits my bigger foot better because I have one bigger foot. The problem with this yarn is it's not really sock yarn, and so it's already pilling, it's already shedding, it's already felting, which is horrible. Because I want it to last, but again, I have an upcoming yarn that is, I don't know, super wash, hopefully, and actually a sock yarn, so hopefully that one works out. But yeah, this one is already felting. Does it show? Does it show? Is it zooming? Is it zooming? No, it's not, but you can kind of see it. It's already felting, which is very sad. But I still love it. I still wear it. It's great. I don't know. Oh, I also have needles that I use like only for socks. I mean, obviously, because they're small needles. But what I mean is that for many of my projects, I have very cheap needles. Like, I just buy whatever's there. For this one, I actually invested on some pretty good needles. I have the Knit Pro Ginger needles in the 2.25. I bought it specifically because like, when you have shorter needles, like, the wrist pain is something else, and like, because the needle is also thinner, the yarn is thinner, you just have to hold things a little bit more, which means more hand pain and more wrist pain, and I want to protect my hands. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful needle. Like, it's so smooth. It's smoother than my bamboos. And especially for this one, because it's lace weight, so I had to double ply it, and like, there's a lot of splitting. I needed like smooth needles. Maybe if I had better yarn, I also would just, like, a worse needle would suffice. But like, for this one, I needed the smooth needles, and also they're flexible. They don't hurt my hands. It's great. It's wonderful. I love the Knit Pro Gingers. I think I have been thinking about investing in better needles in the future, just because I think I have been knitting more and more and more and more, and so I would get like a bang for my buck for needles. I want to have an interchangeable knitting set. I have been looking at the Lantern Moons. I don't know if I'm gonna buy them. They're just so much money. I'm a student, like, I'm a university student. I also live in the Philippines, where like the dollar is like, where like our money is worth less. You know what I mean? So like, if I buy something and it's made internationally, it's going to cost me more than, say, someone who earns by the dollar. And so like, it's just, even if the thing is like reasonably priced for where it's made and what it is and who made it and stuff, like, it just feels so unreasonable for me to buy it. And I mean, so far I've been doing well with my metal needles and bamboo needles that I just buy from Fako. But let's see. I think I will invest in some nicer needles. I am not sure, but I want to. Okay, yeah, I think that's it for these socks. Overall, love them, love making them. The yarn could be better, and hopefully will be better with the future yarn that I will buy, now that I know that what I am looking for. What else? Do I have anything else? Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, no, that's it. Loved it. And also, I don't usually follow like video patterns, just because my brain doesn't, I don't think it like interacts well with video tutorials. So I always like a written pattern, but the Crazy Sock Lady video is excellent. And I think, especially for socks, where like it is a new technique. I've never knitted with small needles before. Like I've never knitted, no, I have knitted with DPNs before, but like not DPNs that thin, that small, in like 2.25s. And so having just like a video to see it, I think is actually very helpful. So yeah, I recommend that video tutorial. I think the Crazy Sock Lady has done much for the sock knitting community, as I'm sure many people who made socks can vouch for. Okay, so for my second and last, no, actually it's not my last, I have another one, but for my second finished object, I have this. I mean, my lighting is bad because it's just natural light and the light from above, but this is the Semafor vest by Stine HoelgaardJohansen from the yarn brand Jarbo. It's also a free pattern. Every pattern that I use here is like free. I don't really buy patterns. I am planning to change that because again, I want to learn, and I find that a lot of free patterns tend to have like basic construction. Not all, but a lot of them, most of them. And I think there's stuff that I want to make that I think I could benefit from paying for. But again, the complaint about the dollar earlier, and also everything else in life. But yeah, this is, I think it's a very fun vest. It has like a little lace pattern going on. This is not blocked, so that's why it looks like that. Like it still looks a bit frumpy, but I mean, I love it. I think it's great. Actually, okay, first, the yarn. This is soft cotton yarn from from Cat Crafts PH. It's a local yarn brand. They sell cotton, as all the local yarn brands do. This one is in, I think, like forest green or juniper green. That's the color, and I think it's so pretty. Actually, the color is like, something happened to me when I was doing this project that like does happen when you make bigger or like longer projects, where the more you knit on it, the more you're like, I think this color looks bad. I think this pattern looks bad. I think everything about this is wrong and awful. But after I cast it off, I like put it aside and just didn't look at it for like 2 days. And then I looked back at it and I was like, oh, actually, it's literally fine. Like, it's a literally fine knit. Yeah. The yarn that I used is fingering weight. The pattern calls for, I think, sport or light DK. I still use the same size needles, and I was making a size medium, but because of the smaller yarn, I didn't want to gauge such. So I just made like the large like size, like the count for the stitches of the large size, and I think it worked out well. Like, I think this is a medium size. Sorry, I keep on going away from the mic. I think I sound awful, but okay. Some pattern modifications I made. In the actual pattern, it's the purl that's supposed to be in front. But I think the purl side of a stockinette looks bad. And so I had this instead. Like, I put the stockinette side in front, which does mean that I think the lace pattern suffered for it, but again, I haven't blocked it yet. So who actually knows anything about anything ever? The lace pattern is actually very easy and very intuitive to make, and like easy to memorize. Not exactly memorize, but like you see what has been done in the previous row, you know what to do with the next kind of thing. Which, yeah, that is memorization. Yeah, I love this project, and I really like the buttons. Look at it. It's so nice. I love them. I think they're great. I actually, like, when I bought this, I bought the materials, including the buttons, and then I just put it aside. and then I only like looked at it again after I was done knitting, and I had to sew in the buttons. And I was surprised by how nice they look. I think the buttons look really nice, and I think they really finish up the project of like a forest green vest with like dark wood looking buttons. Okay, more pattern modifications. I think something is wrong with the count of the final count for the front panel. I think they did something wrong, like in the pattern. I mean, it's a free pattern, and I was able to figure it out how to make it work. I just was also like disappointed that there was like a massive mistake like that, and I checked because this pattern has many languages. I checked if perhaps like it's just in the English pattern that it's wrong and it's correct in the other ones. It's not. It's the same that it's wrong everywhere. So I don't know, just don't like once you start decreasing on the if you're gonna make this, once you stop decreasing on the armpit hole as the pattern says, it then later tells you that you need to only have 2 stitches left by the end of it here, like 2 stockinette stitches. It's not true. Don't believe them. It's a lie. You just stop there. Like just stop there and then keep going. And just keep decreasing on the neck. What else? I did make another mistake here on the button band. I made another button hole when I shouldn't have, because there's no button here. And I think I like this project because, well, one, it's made from cotton. Oh, this is a gift knit. I'm giving this to someone who lives in the United States in an area that does get cold, and like I mean, obviously this is a fingering weight cotton knit. Like you can see through it. Like it's that thin. So this is a summer wear. So hopefully they can wear it in the summer, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea how like United States temperature works. But like what I like about this one is that you can put it like over a shirt like I've done with this vest, but you also can just throw it on like just per usual, and it looks like it's intentionally made to be that way in both categories. And it's soft enough and thin enough to like not feel obtrusive on your skin. Like it feels nice on your back and stuff. I haven't actually worn it like to my skin. I've just put it on like with something like this over it, but like I mean I can feel it with my hand, and it feels pretty nice, I think. Hopefully the person who will receive it ends up liking it. I think I'm really glad I made it for them. Also, another thing, I think I'm like secretly horrible with making ribbing. It's bad. It's awful. And I don't know what I did wrong. Because, like, here, the ribbing is, like, fine. This is 3. I used 3 millimeters for this ribbing. The same as this. But for some reason, the ribbing here just looks awful. I mean, I don't know if it looks awful, actually. I also just decidedly, I think, don't know how to weave in, ends for ribbing. Allegedly I do, and I look it up every time, and I am doing it right. It just also looks bad. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, it looks fine. Like, now that I don't know what I've done, it looks fine. I also just think I could do it better. Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes when you're knitting, you look at it too much and you think everything is horrible about it, but it's secretly fine. And sometimes you look at it and you think, it's great, and then it's secretly horrible. And I never know which one I'm experiencing. But yeah. Semafor vest done. I think actually I'll make one for myself, and I'll make one for other people in my life. I think it does look great, and I love the choice of yarn that I made and the fact that it's so lightweight. Yeah. Semafor vest. 7 out of 10 maybe. Okay, now I have one more finished one. And this one is like, it's nothing. I mean, it's not nothing. It's like a project that I made in 20 minutes. And it's very short, very quick, very easy. But I think it's a fun thing. And I do think like having like those fun mini projects is like one of the joys of just knowing how to knit. Like, or crochet. This one is crochet. Just knowing how to do it is just, you can just go, okay, let's do it. I have extra yarn, and yeah, this one is a bag charm that I made. It's so cute. It's not a bag charm. It's like a mini bag for my earphones so that I can put it inside. There we go. And so I just have it outside. And I think it's like a really nice thing to put as a bag charm because the bag is black. It's bright red and yellow, and like it's super cute. I mean, you can make this very easily. This is mohair yarn. I think this is acrylic mohair. I used it to make a top way back, and I still have like a little bit extra. So I was like, okay, let's make this thing. It's just double crochet, like round down. You know how it is. Like, what the fuck is this called? Strap? Yeah, you make a strap, you make the lace, and then it's just that. And then you wear it, and then you close it. And it looks cute. Like, it looks like a nice accessory. I don't like mohair. Or at least I don't like the mohair that I have used because they are acrylic mohair. Or like they're acrylic and mohair. They are actually mohair, like the core is just acrylic. I think maybe one day when I try silk mohair, I'll probably like it. I just also will not because I mean maybe if I like move somewhere colder, or I'm making it for someone who lives somewhere colder, like maybe, but like here, what the fuck am I gonna do with a mohair top? But yeah, love this. It's great. Those are all my finished projects. Now we're on to my... I look so frumpy. Now we're on to my current projects. So I have a couple, and I like them all. Allegedly. Okay, so my first one... Oh my god. Okay, so the first one is a bookmark, just a lace bookmark. I just want to make it because I have... It's terrifying. I just want to make it because I have this yarn. This is... if you're Filipino, you definitely have heard of this. I don't know if it's an international thing, actually. This is the Monaco lace thread yarn. It's in cotton. There was a time in my life where I had a thing where I wanted to make a bobbin lace because I'm insane and I thought I could do that. I can't. But I do have this, and I was like, okay, let's make something out of it. And usually like people use this here to crochet doilies and stuff. I just think like I don't really like crocheting that much. Like if I were to knit or crochet, I would choose to knit. It's something that I find more intuitive and more... Like, with crocheting, it's mentally engaging in a way I don't like. Because I have to pay attention to crochet. Because crocheting for me is harder. Crocheting is harder. And so, I just have to pay more attention to doing it in a way that supersedes how much attention I want to be paying towards knitting. Even for a basic crochet stitch, much more for a more complicated one. Like with knitting, I can go, oh, I want it to be a little bit mindless, so I can just do stockinette and it will be mindless. But if I want it to be more complicated, I can choose a more complicated project. But with crochet, everything feels not complicated, but like harder mentally. Like I have to count more, I have to think more, I have to actually look at it, which like makes it more difficult to, like if you're watching something while crocheting, it's harder to do than watching something while knitting because the mental engagement with crocheting is higher. I don't know. Maybe that's just for me. I'm sure other people have different thoughts. Yeah, but this one is a lace bookmark. It's Estonian style bookmark by Herdis Jo. I mean, obviously, it's not laying flat. This is the kind of project that you definitely have to block. I think it is so pretty though, and I like it very much. These are 2.25s. So yeah, these are 2.25 needles. Lace cotton, mercerized. Honestly, I should have finished this the moment I cast it on. Like, it's a short project, but for some reason it has stayed on my needles. I just have other projects that I like to work on currently. I mean, okay, I will finish this today. Just because it's so close to being done. Like, it's a bookmark. Like, it's gonna be this big. Like, it's not gonna be that much more work to get it done. And so I suppose I shall. Okay, that's my promise. I'll get this done today. Yeah. Lace, Estonian style lace bookmark. Very fun. Love it. Love a small knit. Next one. So, a couple of years ago, when my baby sister turned 7, I gave her a knit project for her birthday, and it's this guy. This is my sister calls him Grizzly, and it's the Otso knitted bear pattern. Otso pattern by Sophie Heathscott, and I mean, look at him. He's so cute. He's so cute, and my sister absolutely loves this guy. Just absolutely adores him. And she has been asking me to make a friend for Grizzly for a while now. And so I have started on that. Here he is, the friend. Or she, I don't know what my sister will give it. But this is my current progress. It's just the legs of Grizzly. This is where we're at. I haven't done much progress. This is actually the same yarn in a different color. This yarn is, like, here in the Philippines, we have a thing called like Japan surplus, which I think maybe that also exists in other countries. But basically, the point of that is like you have stuff from Japan that they don't want anymore, and they put it here and they sell it here. And there's like a lot of like surplus Japan yarn, and a lot of it is vintage, and a lot of it is bad, but like if you dig hard enough, you can find good ones. It's why I have become an expert in like what the symbols for like what kind of fiber is in Japanese, like in the Japanese scripts. So I can like look at a yarn, and it will be like a terrible picture of a yarn, and you can barely make out anything. But I can like squint and look at the one side of the label, and the other side is obstructed, and I can be like, that is 100% wool because there's the symbol of the wool on it, stuff like that. Anyway, that's where I get most of my wool yarn actually, and like that's where I got my mohair, and this is where I got this wool yarn. I got another wool yarn from it, but like it didn't work out. Like I can't make anything from it. So yeah, if you're Filipino and you're watching this, look up Japan surplus yarn on Carousel or Shopee. You will find stuff there, and be wise with how you buy it. But like, it's a pretty good deal. Like, it's cheap as fuck. Yeah. Anyway, this yarn I got from there. It's like 2 balls of 100 gram. I think 150. So it's like 300 grams yarn. One is this color. The other is this color. Yeah, it's great. I love it very much. And this one, I mean, it's the same guy. It's the same project, essentially. I'm just doing it now that I'm 2 years older. So yeah, my sister said she will name this bear Polly, short for polar bear, which I think is super duper cute. Yeah, and so hopefully I finish Polly within the next month. Like, my sister pesters me every day, like, have you finished Grizzly's friend? And it's like, well, no, I haven't. Because I'm busy doing other things. including knitting other projects that and not at all any of the things that I need to do in my life. Yeah, and also speaking of like here, this is a cake. This yarn originally came in a hank. I actually bought a yarn winder recently. It's very fun. It's very wonderful. It's wonderful for organizing your stash yarn. I can't recommend it enough. I love it. And I know most people who will be watching a knitting podcast already has that. But I just think, like, I have a tendency to be like, I don't need anything. I only need durable yarn. I only need durable needles. And I can wind everything by hand. And I mean, you can do all of those things. But I just think a yarn winder is like life-changing for me because I like to have an organized stash and it makes it easier than ever to organize it. It's just like cheap. I bought it for 200 pesos again on Shopee. But yeah, this is Polly, aka Otso pattern by Sophie Heathscott. Hopefully I finish it like soon. Okay, another whip. Oh, these are Polly's arms. Also, like the inside, the stuffing. This is the yarn I was talking about earlier. Like it's wool yarn. It's 100%. It's thinner. It's like lace weight, and it sucks. Like it's so weak, and I bought so much of it, and so now I've just been using it to stuff things. It happens. Sometimes you have a dud buy. Yeah. My next whip is this one. Okay. This one, I have been working on this for literal years. I think like 2 years now. And I have decided, because after I like wound up all of my stash yarn into cakes and I was like, wow, so organized. I realized that like I have this like just eyesore in my collection. And I was like, okay, let's finish it for real now. It's this. This is it's a vest. Like it's a crocheted vest. Actually, it looks so wonderful on camera. Like I think it looks really nice under this light. But this is a crocheted vest, just regular. Like, yeah. Bit of shaping on the neck. It honestly looks bad. Like when I wear it, the shaping looks horrible, but I don't want to repeat it anymore because I've had this for so long and I'm so tired of it. I want it gone. Yeah, it's crocheted, obviously, and I think I know that I use like just yarn that I have lying around that I use for other projects and it's just not working out anymore. I don't know what to make of it anymore. There's so little. There's not much to do with them. And I put them all here, which I think like a granny square thing is an excellent use for scrap yarn if you have any. I just don't think my brain agrees with the granny square because I'm always like, oh, I'm done. And I'm not done. I've made one square. I need to make like 55 more or whatever. But yeah, this one, you know what? I will probably like it when it's done. Actually, I probably won't. I tried it out. It's too thick. This is DK yarn. I made it with 3.5 needles. But also, I think in some places I used 4. Because the squares are different sizes. But yeah. And also, I did a horrible job with the V-neck. I severely dislike doing ribbing for crochet. So a lot of my crochet projects, when I do a ribbing, I don't, or I pick up with a knitting needle and then knit the ribbing. Which is what I did with this one. But I think I just completely made the V-neck wrong. Like the V-neck decrease is horrible and bad. And so it looks awful. You know what? I probably will like this when it's done. I'm so tired of it. I've had it for so long. It's been like on my stash for so long. It's just like a thing that's there. And I can't frog it because it's granny square. And it's just like, I just would rather finish it than frog it. But anyway, the remaining parts of this project is I need to make the sleeves. I already like did a single crochet across them, so I just need to pick up those stitches and then start knitting the ribbing. I think actually it will look much better once the sleeves are ribbed. And then for the bottom, I'm not actually sure if I'm going to keep on ribbing this or just like that's just it. It's just a raw edge. And then obviously, because it's a granny square, there's so many ends to weave in. But I just want to get it done. I want it over. I want it done. I want it out of my works in progress and into my closet. It does look nice is the thing. Like, it does, like, there's a reason why I started this project, and it's because I like the look of a granny square. Like, it's so fun. It's so fun, quirky, whatever. I'm tired of it, and I want it over. 5 out of 10, hate it. But also, maybe I will secretly love it. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. It's awful to work on something that you don't like, obviously. And so I'm trying, sometimes you have to do things, including, but not limited to, working on a project your heart is not really on. Because you just want it out of that fucking whip basket. Okay, I have 2 more whips. This one, I actually really like this one. This is, I'm sure many people have heard of this too. This is the Dumpling bag by Purl Soho. This is my progress so far. Ignore that giant hole, it's because I changed yarns. But yeah, this is my progress so far. The Dumpling bag is like, it's a bag. And then, like, the top is, like, one of the handles is smaller than the other, and so you insert the longer handle on the other one. And then it's just a singularly handled bag with a self-locking mechanism. It's nice. It's a nice pattern. It's, like, I think it's, like, inspired by, like, a Japanese bag for real. And I think it's nice. And a skill that I learned here is the provisional cast on, which you use so that you can Kitchener the bottom once you're done, which I think is incredibly fun, and I think it's much easier than I thought it would be. And it's great. And I mean, this is a stockinette bag. I love stockinette. There was a time in my life where I absolutely hated it because I thought it was so boring, but I think like my interests lie in other place now. So like I like the stockinette. Yeah, this yarn is fine cotton yarn, which is like, I think the cheapest yarn you can buy here in the Philippines. It's 100% cotton, and it's like, when you buy it, it's 8 ply. That means it's fingering weight, and then you can double pull it, which is actually why I bought the yarn winder. It's because I want to have like a single pull, double pull yarn. You know how it is, and yeah, it's very fibrous yarn. Well, it's cotton, so the fibers are pin straight, and it like splits very easily. It's not wound at all, which means it is harder to work with, but it's one hell of a fabric once it's done. Like, it's super smooth, super soft. Like, it's great. Like, it's nice. It's less stiff than stuff that like you would probably need or want cotton for. But I like it anyway. I am afraid that this bag will sag just because it's, made from soft cotton and like with little to no twist and structure. And like cotton doesn't really remember, like it has no memory. And so it won't like bounce back to its regular style. That's why you use wool for socks. I think, the thing about making this damn podcast is like, who the fuck am I talking to? I don't know. And so I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? Why is he talking down on me, an experienced knitter? Of course, I know what wool does and what cotton does and what they're for. But like, in case you don't, it's the like cotton doesn't like bounce back, and so it is difficult to use cotton for projects that like you need to have a certain structure, because chances are it will like deform and it won't go back to its usual style or like your original intent for it, the shape. Yeah, I actually, I'll show my yarn stash later, but I have so many yarn that's like this quantity of this yarn and just other yarn, like other cotton yarns. I think if I end up liking this dumpling bag, it would be a wonderful thing to make every like a lot of dumpling bags in different colors, and like I want to do knitting, like gift knitting for people, and I think it would be really fun if like I had a gift for them, and then additionally the gift is in a gift bag, and the gift bag is a hand knit bag that they can reuse over and over again, and it's wonderful, it's constructible, blah blah blah, and it's made with love, etc. Love it. Interesting pattern. Free. All of these are free. So if you want to make it, I think it's fun. Like I think, and like if you have good yarn, you can really showcase it just because it's like stock in it. Okay, last whip. I have, if you remember the yarn I used earlier for my socks, it's a shorty sock and I bought 100 grams. So I actually have like a lot of leftover, and I have been using it to make a tie. This pattern is Director Tie by Karen Turnbull. The only variation I made is one that I saw in the like finished projects portion of the pattern, where they did a different edge than what was recommended in the pattern, so that it has like a cleaner edge look, which I have utilized and I think makes it looks really, really nice. I am worried about this because I only have this much yarn left, and it's not that much, and I don't have a weighing scale, so I can weigh it and then figure out how much yardage this is. And this is like currently at like 15 inches, and I need it to be 58 inches. So that like, and I mean it is tapering down, so it's going to be like thinner and thinner as I go. So it's probably not going to be that bad, except what if it is? So yeah, I'm playing yarn chicken with this one, which is, I mean, it happens. It frequently happens. So yeah, I don't want to buy more of this yarn just to finish one project. So I don't know. Hopefully, I have enough stuff. This is also gift knit, I think. Unless I don't have enough yarn, in which case it will be a sad, unfinished project. Okay, that's actually all for my current projects. For my upcoming projects, I have two that I want to share. One is the yarn still isn't here. I'm waiting for it. I'm making self-striping socks. I bought Alice socks, like they're like actual sock yarn, so hopefully because it's also super wash, it won't felt like my socks, the first pair I made. I chose a really, I think, very fun color switcheroo thing, striping pattern. I should have the photo here or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's here. And like, I just think it's like a really fun pattern. And I am excited for the self-striping because obviously I really loved making the socks. And so making the self-striping socks is like literally just making that, but with a yarn that is hopefully better to work with and also just looks nice. Like there's visual stimulation as you're going and you can see your progress better, which makes it a more fun knit. Yeah, and the other one is I said I'll show you my stash yarn. So my stash yarn right now is, and I suppose this isn't stash because I do have a project for it. So this yarn is the same type of yarn that I used for the dumpling bag. This is fine cotton yarn from Baguio. It's a very bright blue. I was actually incredibly shocked when it arrived. I ordered this online and it arrived and it was a brighter blue than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a darker, deeper blue, but it's not. It's this bright. I'm making the Sadie sweater by Ozetta with this one, which it's going to be the first pattern I ever buy, but I want to do something. I wanna learn things, etc. So I thought, you know what, let's buy a pattern. And the Sadie sweater like has this like cuffs, like the cuffs are like unfinished, like they're not ribbed, they're just rolled hems, which I think is very fun. Like that's a very fun look. Hopefully it works out with cotton yarn. I think the recommended yarn is 50% wool, 50% cotton. I am worried because it's like a project that needs to be blocked, and cotton does block differently from wool, allegedly. So I don't know. Let's see. I have 800 grams of this. The Ozetta sweater actually only requires like 600. I've just had experiences in the past where like wool is much lighter than cotton, so I've had experiences where I was like, I bought the amount that cotton would say, but like it's cotton, blah 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 blah. And eventually I had to play yarn chicken, and then I ran out of yarn and all that. Which is like what happened with this actually. This was supposed to be a t-shirt, but it didn't work out. So yeah, hopefully, like I bought 800 grams. And if the 200 grams ends up being whatever, I can just make another thing out of it, you know? It's fine. So yeah. But hopefully I would have casted this on by the next podcast episode. I am not sure, because I do want to prioritize the socks, because I am looking forward to the socks driving yarn. For the rest of my stash, so aside from that color and that one that's specifically for Ozetta, these are my yarns that are like not for a project currently. And I am really proud of this fact. This is how much stash yarn I have. It can fit in this thing. That's nothing. I mean, like, it's not nothing. It's yarn, but like, if you look at other people's stuff, I mean, and not to, yeah, but like, you know, a lot of YouTubers and like knitfluencers, you look at their stash and like it's so much yarn. I think I am quite proud of the fact that I only have so little, and I think I would like for it to stay that way. I want to only buy yarn that I have a project for. And the stash yarn that I have, a lot of the time, like this one, for example, this is a freebie yarn. I'm still actually using this for the thing, for the crochet vest. This one is left over from the Smelgaford vest. I never know what the name of that is. I bought 250 grams. I ended up only using 200, so I have an extra ball. Leftover yarn that I'm not sure what to do with this. It's wool. Maybe I'll do another plushie. Yarn that I keep specifically for like provisional cast on and like etchet and like stuff that I need excess yarn for. Like yarn that I use for something else, and then I frogged, and now it's this. And then extra yarn from a project in the past that I'm just trying. I think I'm going to make another dumpling bag out of. You know, I like just having, like, this is not much yarn, and a lot of it is like extra or freebies, and I like that. I like to keep it that way. I don't think it's like a virtue thing. Like, I don't think I'm more virtuous for having little yarn. I think I'm poorer than a lot of the people who make knitting content. And that is like the main propagator of why I try to keep as little stash yarn as possible. Because it genuinely makes me feel bad to see all of that money in yarn form, like lying around, with me having no concrete projects for them. So yeah. this is my sasher. Yeah, that's it really. I do have like a thing that I want to do at the end of the episodes where I tell you about a piece of media, maybe something I watched, something I listened to, or whatever that I enjoyed during the duration of the time in between podcasts while knitting. And for this podcast episode, my media recommendation is Emma by Jane Austen. I watched the 2020 movie while I was knitting on this thing, and I ended up liking it so much. Like, it's a great movie. I've never actually read Emma before I watched the movie. I watched the movie because a friend really likes it. And so eventually I read the book. And actually, like, when I was knitting on the back of this thing, because this is like one piece, right? And then you cut here and then you just do the back for a bit and it's just stockinette. I read the book because I find that I can read when I'm doing stockinette. But then eventually I was like, let's just listen to the audiobook. Let's not do this to ourselves. So I listened to the LibriVox recording by Elizabeth Klett of Emma by Jane Austen. Good book. Loved it. A good narrator. Loved it also. I recommend it. Support LibriVox. Like, they're doing good shit. I think. I mean, sometimes they're not. But, like, it's free. No, you know what I mean. I think I've been trying to get into audiobooks recently. It's not a format that I particularly like, but I find that when I'm knitting, it's actually pretty nice. So, yeah, hopefully I can give more audiobook recommendations in the future or whatever. So, yeah, that's it for this episode of Grey Knits. Hopefully I can keep on doing this in the future. My target is like every 2 to 3 weeks. I don't want to do every month because it scares me, like having that kind of like linearity. But hopefully I do 2 to 3 weeks. I'll see you guys. Bye bye.